You're sitting in a meeting. You have an idea. You raise your hand. Nobody looks up. Someone else says the same thing 4 minutes later and the whole room nods. You go quiet. You tell yourself it doesn't matter. But something in your chest says otherwise, and it won't let go for the rest of the day. You call this being overlooked. You call it bad luck, or a bad boss, or a personality thing. But the real answer is far stranger. It has nothing to do with your talent, or your boss, or the meeting. It's older than meetings, older than offices. It comes from a forest, a set of chains, and a scientist who spent decades trying to undo his own mistake. In 1947, a Swiss researcher named Rudolf Schenkel put a group of unrelated wolves together in a zoo enclosure. They didn't choose each other. They weren't a family. They were strangers, locked in a small space, competing for food that never ran out fast enough. Schenkel watched them fight for position. He saw one wolf shove its way to the front. He saw others cower, flatten their ears, and roll onto their backs. He called the winner the Alpha. He called the loser the Omega. And he wrote it all down as if this were simply how wolves are. For 50 years, that idea spread everywhere. Nature documentaries, leadership seminars, parenting books. Somewhere along the way, Alpha stopped being a word about wolves and became a word about people. Be the Alpha. Don't be the Omega. Dominate the room or disappear in it. Here's the strange part. The man whose research built that idea spent the second half of his career trying to tear it down. His name is L. David Mech. He is, without much argument, the most respected wolf biologist alive. And starting in the 1970s, he did something almost no scientist does. He went back into the wild, watched actual wolf families for years, and realized the entire alpha model was built on a lie of circumstance. Wild wolf packs are not gladiator pits. They're families. A mother, a father, and their pups from the last few years. Nobody fights for the top spot, because the top spot was never up for grabs. The parents lead because they're the parents. The yearlings help raise the younger pups because that's what siblings do. There is no coup. There is no dominance contest. Mech spent 13 summers watching wild packs on Ellesmere Island, above the Arctic Circle, and he never once saw the brutal hierarchy Schenkel described. Schenkel's wolves weren't showing you wolf nature. They were showing you what happens to any social animal when you strip away its family and force it to compete with strangers for scraps. Sit with that for a second. Does that remind you of anywhere you've spent 40 hours a week? Because that's exactly what a modern workplace is. It's not a family. It's not a pack you were born into. It's a group of unrelated individuals thrown into a shared space, competing for a limited number of promotions, a limited amount of attention, a limited supply of credit. It is, structurally, closer to Schenkel's enclosure than to Mech's Arctic wilderness. And your body doesn't know the difference between the two. It just knows the shape of the situation. Strangers, scarcity, a hierarchy that someone else built and you didn't choose. So it responds the only way millions of years of pack instinct taught it to respond. It scans the room for your position in it. Are you seen? Are you ranked? Are you safe? When the answer feels like no, something ancient switches on. There's a reason it hurts, and it isn't metaphorical. In 2003, a psychologist named Naomi Eisenberger ran an experiment at UCLA using a simple computer game called Cyberball. 3 players toss a virtual ball back and forth. Except 2 of the players are secretly programmed, and partway through, they stop passing to the third. That third player just sits there, ignored, while the ball keeps moving without them. Eisenberger scanned their brains while it happened. The region that lit up was the same one that lights up during physical pain, not sadness in the abstract. Pain. The same neural circuitry your brain uses when you touch something hot, switches on when you're left out of a game you know isn't even real. Being unseen isn't a bruised ego. It's a low-grade signal of physical threat, wired in before language, before tools, before you had a word for exclusion at all. Because for most of human history, being unseen by the group wasn't an inconvenience. It was a death sentence. A human alone on the savannah, unranked, unaccounted for, unprotected by the group's watchfulness, was a human who didn't survive the night. Your nervous system still runs that old software. It doesn't know you're in a glass office building with a vending machine down the hall. It only knows alone, unseen, unranked, danger. So when your idea gets ignored in a meeting, you're not overreacting. You're running a 13 summers old survival program at the speed of a Slack notification. Now here's the twist inside the twist. Watch what a wolf does when a captive pack becomes unbearable, when the competition for scraps never lets up and there's no way to rise and no way out. It doesn't keep fighting forever. Eventually, it disperses. It leaves. Biologists have tracked lone wolves traveling hundreds of miles alone, searching for a new territory, a new pack, or at least the chance to start one where the rules aren't rigged against it from the day it arrived. Humans do the same thing, just slower, and usually with a resignation letter instead of a forest. Every year, millions of people leave jobs not because the pay was wrong, but because they never felt ranked, never felt seen, never found their place inside the pack. Researchers who study workplace turnover keep finding the same pattern Mech found in the snow. It was never really about the food, or the salary, or the title. It was about whether the animal or the employee had a recognized place in the group. Take that away, and even a well-fed wolf will walk into the wilderness alone rather than stay. So what do you do with all of this? Sitting back in that meeting, still stung, still telling yourself it shouldn't matter this much. You stop blaming your instincts and start reading them correctly. That flicker of hurt when you're ignored isn't weakness. It's an ancient family detection system going off in a room that was never built like a family. Once you know that, you can stop asking, "What's wrong with me?" and start asking a better question. Is this pack actually built like Mech's wolves, where everyone has an earned, stable place? Or is it built like Schenkel's enclosure, where the only way anyone rises is by someone else going quiet? Some rooms can be changed from the inside. You can build the family structure yourself by naming people's contributions out loud, by passing the ball back to the ones who've gone quiet, by refusing to let the loudest voice count as the only voice. Real packs don't run on domination. They run on recognition. Mech spent 30 years proving that even wolves don't want a tyrant. They want a parent who leads because the group trusts them to. And some rooms can't be changed. Some enclosures stay enclosures no matter how long you wait for the food to be distributed fairly. In those rooms, the lone wolf isn't the failure. The lone wolf is the one who read the situation correctly and left before the isolation cost more than the departure. Either way, the feeling that sent you looking for an answer wasn't broken. It was doing exactly what it evolved to do. It was trying to keep you inside the pack, because for nearly all of human history, the pack was the only thing standing between you and the dark. Tonight, you'll probably sit in another meeting. Someone will get credited for your idea, or you won't. And this time, when that old ache rises in your chest, you won't call it bad luck anymore. You'll raise your hand again. Only this time, you'll know exactly what's watching to see if the room looks up.